It's been weeks since protests over tax hikes began in Kenya. But despite the Ruto government withdrawing the controversial law raising taxes, the frustration of Kenyans does not seem to be dying down. Fed up with the cost of living crisis, Kenyans continue to demand that Ruto must go, saying that he's not yet apologized for those who were killed during the protests against the finance bill. But the Kenyans' frustration is not just against Ruto and his government, though it was primarily directed at their failure to address Kenyan concerns. But if you look closely, Kenyans are also denouncing the IMF and World Bank, accusing them of causing and exacerbating the crisis, something which even their president actually agrees with them on.
IMF and World Bank, you have the final say. We don't have no say. We want another organization of equals.
But why exactly are the Kenyans and several African countries angry with the IMF? Well, for years now, lenders like the IMF have been unpopular in some African countries for giving loans to poor countries with extremely strict conditions. These conditions, according to them, disproportionately affect the poor. Let's first look at Kenya. Kenya's debt is $82 billion, of which they owe $8 billion to China and the rest to IMF, World Bank, US, Saudi and others. When Ruto entered office in 2022, Kenya was pretty much in a debt crisis already. Their external debt was $62 billion, which is a whopping 67% of their GDP. So when Ruto was vice president in 2021, the government had entered into an agreement with the IMF for 38 months. IMF would help Kenya manage debt and create a conducive investment atmosphere. The conditions for the loan, however, were 1. Hiking taxes, which is what these protests were all about, and 2. Reducing fertilizer and fuel subsidies, which Ruto already did after coming to power. In fact, Ruto had made the IMF program a priority since he came to power, and this angered the people because in his campaign he had promised to put more money in people's pockets. And this anger spilled over onto the IMF as well, since it's their conditions due to which the government wanted to hike taxes. Also, the IMF backed these tax hikes. So now that the finance bill has been withdrawn, Kenya needs to fill the gaps to meet the IMF's targets. So according to analysts, Kenya will have to submit a new revenue plan. Ruto has announced some austerity measures now, like cutting out of the budget for the financial year. He also warned that now Kenya would have to borrow more due to the decision to drop the finance bill. So it could be a while before Kenya can actually come out of this whole cycle. With the IMF money and the money from lenders in countries like China, Kenya had been investing in huge infra projects like this Chinese-built railway, which was Kenya's biggest infra project since independence. Most of these loans were commercial, so they had high interest rates, and the infra spending failed to generate the expected revenue. Then COVID happened, plus agri supply chains were disrupted in Kenya. So basically, since 2022, cost of living in the country has been soaring, as has their debt. And this led to the anger by the people, which spilled onto the streets. Hope you found this video informative. For more such content, keep watching Mint.